Hi, this is Megan with Beadaholique, and today I'm going to show you how to make this zigzag style double row shambhala style bracelet. So instead of having one bead across the middle, this one actually zigzags back and forth with two beads. And I've used the really pretty Beadel Pave set crystal beads, and I'm going to make another one here and show you how using the Beadel candy beads, and this is a really pretty emerald, and then I'm using some 24 karat gold plated metal beads. So I'm using a 10mm round bead, and I'm using 10 of them. So for the 2-color striped effect here, I have 6 of one bead and 4 of another color. And I have a 1.5mm waxed cotton cord, and I have a 6-foot length and a 3-foot length. And then you're going to need some way to attach your work to your work surface. I'm just going to use masking tape. You can also use a clipboard, something like that. To finish this off, you'll need some E6000 glue, and then you'll need either flush cutters or scissors. I like the way the flush cutters give you a really clean and tidy cut on this kind of cord. So to start with, take the 6-foot piece and fold it in half, and the 3-foot piece and fold it in half. And I've done the kind of clasp on this one where you have a loop and then 2 ends, and you just tie the ends through the loop. It's adjustable. So what I'm going to do to start that is take your shorter piece and then take the middle of the longer piece and place it underneath the shorter piece. And I'm going to leave this loop at the end, about 1 inch long. So go ahead, and if you're not familiar with how to tie a macrame square knot, you'll want to start by watching the video how to tie macrame square knots, because we're going to use them on the beginning and the end of this bracelet. So what we're going to do is, to start with, we're going to tie a square knot right around this loop. Just take your left string, bring it over, your right string over that, underneath and through the loop. And just pull it tight about 1 inch from the top, and then you're going to create your under, over, through the second half of the square knot. So just like that. On this one here, I did 5 square knots at the end and 5 square knots at the beginning. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to make mine this time with 6, just a little bit more knotting so that it's a little longer. So you'll want to finish that up, and just remember, when you're doing this kind of square knotting, you're going to take your left thread over, and then the next one take your left thread under, in order to keep the knotting flat. If you want it to spiral, then you just do 1 and it will spiral. You just keep going over or keep going under, but to get it flat, you alternate back and forth. And each set equals 1 square knot. So each set of 2 is 1. Okay, so once you have as much as you want to put at the beginning, now's where you need a nice flat work surface. And you need to secure your work to the work surface. So if you're going to tape it down, make sure that you really secure that tape, get it inside the loop and everything, so that it has a decent amount of stability there. Then we're going to string the beads onto the center cords, and go ahead and string them just like this. So every other one on each one, and they'll automatically adjust to that staggered look. But go ahead and just string them separately first. And the 1.5 millimeter cord will just fit through these 10 millimeter beadle beads. If you're using a different bead, make sure that the hole is going to be large enough to accommodate the cord that you're using. And this cord is pretty good about not getting frayed, but if it does get hard to put through, you can just clip it. Okay, so that's for one side, and then grab the other of the short cords and string the same number of beads. Okay, and now we're going to tape our center strings also down to the work surface. Give yourself a little bit of room to play with, but we're going to be wrapping around those beads. We don't want them to go off the end of the strand, so tape them down, being able to get under there and reach around. Okay, now take the right one of your longer cords and you're going to wrap it underneath the top left bead but above the top right bead. If you want to hold those beads still, what we're going to do is take the right strand and wrap it right underneath, and then you're just going to go around and around, and you're going to go between each bead and the next. So just continue around and catch between each bead. And make sure that you're getting all the way down to that center string. Really get it in there. And don't let your beads move too far down. You want to keep them pretty snug. This has a lot to do how this looks with the tension, so you want to really keep a hold on it. Okay, now we're going to hold that there with that hand, and then we're going to just wrap the other way. So when you start this way, you're going to skip that first bead on the left and go around. And then now you'll be doing the same wrapping, but the other way. And again, you want to get it all the way down to that core thread. So if you've done a regular Shambhala bracelet, this one actually is faster. It's got no knotting in the middle. It's just wrapped to hold it in place. So then I'm going to go ahead and untape that center strand. I'm going to start by going under. And just make another square knot right there. Try not to twist your center strands. And pull it up tight enough that you don't have a lot of extra room hanging out at the top. Just like how right at the bottom. At the top you can see it worked pretty nicely the way those twist together. You want a very similar kind of thing at the bottom. Oops, so you started with an under on the left, so now go over with the left strand and complete your first square knot. And then you're going to do 5 more square knots so that you have the same piece at the bottom as you do at the top. And if you wanted to make this bracelet longer or shorter, you could just increase the number of beads in the middle, or you could increase how much of the knotting you have at the beginning and the end. But it is also adjustable. So pull your work up, and that's going to be the main part of your bracelet, just like that. So we do have a whole video on how to finish macrame square knots, but basically all you'll need to do is take your loose strands and tie a regular overhand, or I'm sorry, a regular knot on the back here, and you're gonna just put some glue right inside there. And you'll want to use E6000. It's really gonna hold it well, keep it from falling apart after you wear it. So just go ahead and put glue right at the base, and then try to open that knot up a little bit and get a little bit into the threads, or the cords where they're going to attach, and pull it tight. You can wipe away any excess, and then you want to go ahead and let this dry thoroughly before you go in and trim the ends. And then you'll just clip those there. And then what you want to do is leave yourself a good 6 inches maybe past the end of that, and cut off those cords, and then just tie a little overhand knot right at the end and tighten that up. I'm going to clip these now so you can see, but you really want to let them dry so that it doesn't come open. And that's all there is to it. Then you just take one of these end pieces, pull it through the loop, and tie that. And you can tie it in a knot if you think you can get it undone, or you can tie it in a little bow. Either way. And that's how you make the double row zigzag Shambhala style bracelet.